Gosh, this is some of the most insane drama I've seen in the world of YouTube in quite some time, but I guess it really goes to show how far fat phobia will drive people to just going after the most mundane and bizarre of topics. So how many of you guys are familiar with an animation slash storytime YouTuber, a very inoffensive and unproblematic one, by the name of Illymation? She's made quite a few videos in the past. I actually covered one of them and praised it, the Why I Got an Abortion video. Spoiler alert, she didn't get an abortion. It was a procedure having to do with, I think it had to do with like cysts or cancer in the uterus or fallopian tubes or something, and had to be removed, but legally it's considered an abortion, and so had to go through a lot of that process and get a lot of the same scrutiny, and it was a good video. It was a really good video. Well, recently, and I have a feeling this video probably got her into the eyes of the right and got them. It was an ectopic pregnancy, my bad. Very, very lethal if an abortion was not given. Regardless, I think since then, there's probably a good chance that a lot of the right have been pretty mad about her. I think this video as well, the problem with me being Jewish one, probably got a lot of conservatives, like, eyeing her angrily a bit too. And recently, I guess, she kinda crossed the line in a lot of conservatives' view with a video called Perks of Being the Fat Kid. Now, we'll go ahead and take a look at the video, because obviously we're going to watch it. But I need to give you guys just a little sliver of an idea of what the response to this video has been. Everyone from commentary YouTubers to big right-wing pundits to popular massive drama YouTubers have all jumped onto this to attack Illymation because all of them have a unanimous agreement that fat acceptance is a bad, toxic movement that must be combated. And because this video does not make it a point to shame being overweight, in fact, it doesn't really shame anybody for being overweight or really frame it as being a shameful thing, because of that, the right lost their mind. And Illymation has been under a tidal wave of harassment, like a serious tidal wave of it, ever since this video came out. If you look up Illymation's channel now, you'll see that the top things that come up are not her own videos. Obviously, the channel comes up at least, but the videos that come up are things like, Illymation just destroyed her reputation. She must be stopped. The Illymation situation got worse. Doxed? The Illymation drama continues from Think Before You Sleep, the Nazi channel. The Illymation situation is worse than you think. Cry bully. The Illymation can't handle criticism, ADHD version. And you can see some of these are just a couple weeks old and garnering hundreds of thousands of views. By the way, Think Before You Sleep is dating Brittany Venti. Yeah, Brittany Venti's the lady who got banned off of Twitch back in the day because she did that African cooking show bit where she was in the mud doing clicking noises while making mud pies with sticks and rocks. I think Twitch forgave her for that, and she's unbanned now. But yeah, that was her claim to fame back in the Gamergate era when she got really big with like the white nationalist sphere. Now she's kind of like chilled it down a little bit, and she's more of just like a e-girl pick-me right-winger. But she was one of the race realist types back in the day. She was really in favor of. I remember she had a meltdown at gay marriage getting legalized back in 2015. She had like a viral video where she was melting down over that. For a long time, people thought she was a troll. I think she's definitely a grifter, but you know, it is what it is. Regardless. I've talked about this many times before. Nothing in the world makes mildly conservative people go absolutely apeshit genocide mode, frothing at the mouth, wanting to kill and dox and, like, ruin people's lives, than daring to suggest that hating fat people is maybe not a good thing. The reverse of this, where I've always been a hard gainer, although I will say, I recently found something called Super Mass Gainer, where, like, it's 2.5 scoops of basically high-calorie whey protein powder, essentially. You mix that with about 16 ounces of milk, and that's 1,870 calories in one shake, and it's like a really nice, cool chocolate milkshake is the flavor. and they're really good. And it's like not an insane amount. 16 ounces of fluid is not like an unreasonable amount of fluid to drink over the course of like an hour of just sipping it. At least not for me. And that's so many calories on top of what I'm already eating in the day that I'm actually finally starting to gain some weight. It's slow but steady. I really have to push in order to gain weight, but it's getting there. So there's some positive news on my front in regards to the realm of personal health and weight. I'm getting a little heavier, which is the goal, because I am too light. I am too light for my... Well, about this whole like anti-fat acceptance movement is that a lot of it is kind of falsely coated in this veneer of caring about those that they're attacking. Like, they're attacking this person because they care about them or care about the people that they are badly influencing. That is, of course, the angle that conservatives have taken with this video. This video is going to encourage young, overweight kids to get more overweight and not do anything about it. That is, of course, not true. For many young kids, their weight is not their fault because they're fucking kids. If you put that much weight into the responsibility and decision-making of children, then you're insane. When kids are overweight, it's because of their parents. Their parents buy their food, their parents tell them what they eat, their parents can determine what they're allowed to eat. And then when those kids get older and they become adults, they've spent at least 18 years eating what their parents let them or made them eat. For me, I moved out from the house and I get sick when I have fast food. So it's not a very frequent thing that I do. So I'm typically eating like grocery store food. I get groceries and stuff. However, a lot of people, they grew up on daily McDonald's, and there's literally been studies that have shown these types of foods are downright chemically addictive, right? People grow strong chemical addictions to certain things, and the stimuli provided by the tastes of food and the sensation of eating food is one of the most addictive chemicals the brain can possibly build an unhealthy relationship with. So part of it is training. Like, people literally are trained into eating a certain amount, a certain type of food for their entire lives, and then they're adults, right? And it's not like they just suddenly become fat when they turn 18. It's been their whole life, right? And they were kids. They didn't have any choice. They didn't have any... Well, I'm sure they had a choice, but you know what I mean, right? They didn't have that... It's not fair to put that responsibility on them. So the fact that society, in response to something that for particularly kids is not really in their realm of control, or responsible, reasonable expectation, like their parents should be making sure they're not eating like shit, or they're not they are getting enough exercise. It shouldn't be the kid's responsibility. Those habits will be ingrained in childhood, and then they'll become habits that are just self-enforced in adulthood. Many people don't have that experience. They just don't. And when they become adults, it affects their quality of life in a substantial way. And it's not just as simple as saying, well, just go work out, and then the other 70% of it's all in the kitchen. Make sure you're not, eating too many calories, right? And then, it is that easy for many people, but many people have a very unhealthy relationship with food where they're never not hungry. I think it's fair, like, you've ever been, like, really hungry before, where it's just, like, you're lightheaded, you feel like shit, and you just can't get anything done. Standing up makes you go woozy, and you're like, fuck. Before I go and do anything, I need to go get something to eat. I feel like I'm hungry. When you're trying to lose weight, if you are overweight and you're trying to lose weight, you have to spend most of your day with that feeling for a long period of time before you start losing that weight. The prospect of that alone is not an attractive one. It's not an attractive one. Yes, you can eat low-calorie foods in high quantities and fill up your stomach, but a lot of people don't recognize that, like, your stomach stretches the more you eat. And so a lot of people who are overweight in America in particular have an entire life, an entire childhood of overeating, especially families that have lower incomes, where it's like, hey, we ordered this food, or we bought this McDonald's or something like that. I'm using McDonald's as an example because it's what's on screen. We bought this McDonald's. You better finish every last bit because this cost us money. Don't waste any food. And so you teach yourself to overstuff, and then you start overstuffing, and eventually you overstuff so often that eating the normal amount that would be comfortable before doesn't really satisfy you anymore because you've stretched your stomach so much to accommodate overeating. And eventually, that overeating amount from before becomes what you need to eat just to feel full. And then the cycle continues, and the poverty brain mindset pushes a lot of this. People who don't make as much money don't like to waste food and will eat until uncomfortably full, more often than rich people do, who can just throw away a half-eaten meal because it's $30 or something. Like, it's nothing in the grand scheme of a millionaire or a billionaire. There's a reason why very wealthy people in modern day are not overweight, generally. Like, most very wealthy people these days don't tend to be super overweight, especially in comparison to, like, ancient times when, like, the aristocracy would be, like, really heavy set, even for back then, when we didn't have, like, processed foods, you know? Like, it's interesting to me how the mindset is sort of this false, like, we care about people thing, and yet they don't really care to educate themselves about these issues. Like, I'm very much into health and fitness, so I know how these things work. I know how people's metabolisms work, how keep, like, calories in, calories out works, meeting your nutritional requirements. I care a lot about these things because I'm underweight. I have to find ways to meet my daily calorie count to not lose weight. And it's strange to me how conservatives and people who are anti-fat acceptance, they talk about how being fat is so dangerous, it's so unhealthy. Not so often do you ever see them talking about anorexia. Every once in a while, like, I guess with, like, Eugenia Cooney, but besides that, they don't really talk about anorexia and being chronically underweight much. Have you ever noticed that? The reason is, despite the fact that a human literally cannot live anywhere near a fraction as long underweight, like unhealthily underweight, as a human can live unhealthily overweight. Like, humans can live into their 50s and 60s while being unhealthily overweight. People don't tend to live past their 40s and 50s when they go a long time being, like, anorexic and super underweight. Fat, it's not healthy, but it's so much more healthy in comparison to being super underweight. Especially, like, you might seriously face health problems later in life if you have too low body fat. Unironically, like, actually having too low body fat is a problem. Regardless, though, they never complain about these types. In fact, you'll oftentimes see conservative accounts praising women who are literally medically, unarguably underweight because they actually find skinny, even unhealthily skinny people, if not attractive, at the very least, not hideously disgusting in their view. They find fat people disgusting and hideous, and they're mad they have to see them. They're mad they have to share space or a society with them. They're mad that they think their tax money goes to paying for their health problems, and it all sort of manifests into an overall hatred of fat people and an idea, this, like, idea that fat people are these entitled, like, assholes who are also not, like, who are also deserving of being made fun of for no other reason than just their appearance, but they're also bad people, and here's a bunch of made-up reasons why. It's this very bizarre. I could go on for hours complaining about how retarded, like, the anti-fat acceptance types are. These are the types of people who are like, why don't you go and work out? But then they, like, you see them posting images of, like, an overweight woman at the gym running on the treadmill and making fun of her, or an overweight man at the gym lifting weights and making fun of him, and it's like, don't you want him to get lighter? I will say, to be fair, most fitness types will respond to that type of behavior with, like, what the fuck? He's trying. She's trying. What are you doing? Don't shame someone who's actively working out. They're literally working out in the photo. But the right still does it. The right still does it. I'm just glad there's some parts of the fitness community who haven't fallen down that pipeline of, like, hating fat people so much that a fat person trying to work out is itself something they laugh at and look at with derision, because it's more of, like, a principled thing now, less so than a thing that they've just done for fun or because they actually have a... I hear, like, stories where, like, a girl that I know tells me about, like, bullies she had. It's always bullies that were, like, verbally abusive, right? And I always just wondered, like, if you'd ever just, like, thrown a left hook, like, even a really weak, like, third grader girl left hook, I'm pretty sure that would have ended that entire saga of bullying eventually. Girls who bully don't expect their bullying victim to pull up with hands. If you're a guy and you're getting bullied by another guy, standing up to your bully might not be enough. You might actually have to win the fight against the bully. But generally, girls who are bullies are all talk. All talk. And I have seen girls who are bullies get stood up to by girls when I was in, like, who weren't bullies, who were getting bullied when I was in school. There was I'm not going to name names here, but I remember their names because, like, I just remember this as clear as day. One girl slapped the shit out of another girl that was bullying her, and that never happened again. They got in trouble, they both did, but that never happened again. There was a girl who would just constantly make fun of another girl. I forget for what even. I think it had to do with her teeth. Maybe she had braces. And the girl who was getting bullied just had enough of it and just looked her in the eye and just, like, I'm not even joking. It was a full-on, like, wind it up and just bring it around, fully extended arm, like, rotating from the hip, hard, smacked her in the face. And it's just like, fuck, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm obviously not, like, victim blaming here. I'm just thinking, like, man, if you're a girl out there and you watch my content and you get bullied by another girl, smack the shit out of her. You're not a guy. There's no reservations you need to have about hitting a woman. You're literally a woman. So it's all good. And just, like, if someone's verbally assaulting you and they're a woman, be the first to throw hands because they will fucking run, okay? They will run. Don't be the first to throw hands unless they're getting, like, violent, obviously, or hinting at violence. Otherwise, you'll go to jail. But you know what I mean. If you're dealing with someone who is a clear bully. I know this sounds, like, very unintelligible. Obviously, these are kids, so that's a part of it. But ironically enough, the hater, like the fat-shaming hater person, is not too far off from the rhetoric used nowadays. Dude, Nex was beaten up in the bathroom by girls. Nex was outnumbered. I feel like if it was one single bully, like a one or two people that were a problem, simply standing up for yourself physically is going to be big, right? Also, Nex should not have been having to use the girls' bathroom. That was, like, the big fucking problem as well. Nex preferred he, him pronouns, but also went by they, them. So sort of like NB mask, I guess. That's sort of it's just like that. Like, probably should have been able to use the men's bathroom and probably wanted to use the men's bathroom. And I have a feeling that probably wouldn't have happened in the men's bathroom. Like, I mean, it didn't. It happened in the women's bathroom, so, like, there's no reason to assume it would have happened in the men's. But I mean, I don't know. It's not. There's a lot of reasons why it's not good to force trans kids into a bathroom that they don't identify with. Regardless, in this video, did the right possibly get mad at? Gym girl era. What's wrong with my body? Redefining healthy. Okay, I bet this is the spot. This is definitely the spot the right really got mad at. This is what people are mad at, I bet. Redefining healthy. To the right, I think most conservatives would actually look at you like you're insane if you told them sub 10% and lower body fat percentage is detrimentally unhealthy for your body. And if you try to maintain it, you might shave years off your life. How many conservatives who, like, do the fat shaming stuff, if you told them that, do you think would just look at you like you're insane? What? The human body needs body fat? No way. That's just there because we're not... If you have any body fat, there's something in your diet you need to get rid of. You got to cut that away, bro. Down to 0%, man. No, it's so unhealthy! Oh my god, you can't encourage kids to do this? To stretch and to walk and to do some basic exercise to build strength and endurance? To not, like, hyper-focus on their appearance, but to instead focus on physical fitness that is practical and useful? The overwhelmingly common recommended thing by doctors and fitness experts: work out and stay regularly active so that you, until the point where you don't have any difficulties with regular physical activity. that like the average person would do. And if you're able to do that and you're able to keep that up, then your body is probably healthy enough. Like you're probably not detrimentally unhealthy or in a bad place. It's like, how do you react bad alone? Yep, see? I like how Illymation predicted the immediate response from the haters upon hearing those words. And I bet that if we go and watch the hate videos, that line will be the most frequently revisited. Shame types online don't care what doctors are saying. At the end of the day, all they want to do is, like, hate on fat people. I'm going to show you guys something really disgusting, okay? I'm going to show you guys something really disgusting, but you need to see it. There's a podcast I watch. Occasionally, when they're not talking about politics in particular, they can be pretty funny. One of the hosts is literally FPS Russia. That's one of the first podcasts that ever started. It's called PKA. But occasionally I'm blighted to have to hear them talk about politics and social issues. And besides when they have Finster on PKA, in which case they all become like super curious about trans rights and super progressive, and they all clearly want to fuck Finster, FPS Russia in particular, so they all pretend to be like woke and open-minded and interested, and they're asking Finster about like hormones and trans identities and pronouns and shit. Regardless. Anyway, not getting lost in that fucking rabbit hole. Ryan Beard made a really good video. I assume you guys know who Ryan Beard is, Mr. Beard. Let me see if I can find Ryan Beard Fat Hate. A really good video about fat hate. And one of the videos, or one of the clips that he goes over, I guess they, them, I think, pronouns. I haven't spoken to Ryan Beard in a while. They, them pronouns, I think? Yeah. Double checked. They, them pronouns. My bad. One of the clips that they go over is a clip from PKA, and it is one of the most vile things you will ever fucking hear in your entire life. It is genuinely fucking disgusting. But I think it's important for you to hear it because you need to see the actual thought process that's motivating those that hate hate anything fat acceptance related. Yeah, so Ryan Beard made a video called Terrorizing Women for Comedy, where it's a criticism of Danny Mullen, and he went on PKA and made like some comments, and that's what I want to show you here. Some awful fucking podcast clips of the guy on other podcasts. Yeah, here it is. This is a great bit here. Hopefully they don't mind me showing they there. Well, I said they. When I said he, I was referring to Danny Mullen. So this is them going over the Danny Mullen bit I was talking about. Now, I got to be very clear here. He's a monster. Danny Mullen is like a really weasel. I think Ryan Beard compares him to the Weasel from Suicide Squad, or The Suicide Squad, sorry. A very accurate comparison. You'll see it in his face very momentarily. When you wonder why are people going after Illymations for this video, I need you to understand the mindset behind all of this is the mindset you are about to see showcased in front of you. Don't think any less of me because I watch this podcast. I'm basically a hate watcher.
Danny was also a guest on this show that I assume is called the Sad Dad Podcast, where he basically bitched and whined about how everyone's trying to cancel him.
We got canceled super heavily by fat chicks.
This whole everyone's trying to cancel comedians thing is so fucking boring. You want to know why? I'll give you an example. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This show makes offensive jokes all the time. But have you ever seen the creators of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia going on random podcasts and crying about how everyone is trying to cancel them? No. You know why? Because very few people do try to cancel them. Because they're actually funny. So rather than spending your time bitching and moaning about how the snowflakes are trying to cancel you, make funnier comedy.
So I just come in with, is there anything more worthless than the bottom half of a fat girl? I mean,
There's nothing more pathetic than watching a group of washed-up middle-aged men giggle about how much they hate fat women. I assume they're all going through divorces or something, so they have to let out their...
Okay, the hilarious thing is, this guy, Taylor, the most conservative member of the podcast, recently revealed he is going through a divorce. His wife of 1 year, who he was like 6 months ago discussing potentially having a kid with, cheated on him. And now he's gone through a divorce. And he has gotten significantly more bitter about women since then. FPS Russia, I don't even know where he's at. He's possibly the least politically awful of all of them in a way. Because, like, his desire for Finster's gawk has led him to actually be open-minded in some conversations about trans stuff. And Woody is, like, married with, like kids and everything. But, yeah, they are... It is the Sad Dad podcast, except these two are both single, unmarried, no kids, and they are also sad. Woody is a sad dad, literally.
so I just come in with, is there anything more worthless than the bottom half of a fat girl? I mean,
There's nothing more pathetic than watching a group of washed-up middle-aged men giggle about how much they hate fat women. I assume they're all going through divorces or something, so they have to let out their frustration somehow.
seeing the true colors of the woke mob was very interesting. These people who claimed to be moral. I was called a rapist. They
I
were
like his shirt, his hat. Danny Mullen freed the slaves. Very good.
attacking my hairline. A rumor got out that I was 5'5", and everybody was like height shaming me.
People like this, for some reason, are under the impression that the left is all about being nice to people, so they think it's some sort of massive hypocrisy when people on the left are mean to them in the same way they're mean to people like fat people. The left never claimed it was about being nice. The left is about defending marginalized groups. So if you act like an asshole to marginalized people, they're gonna act like an asshole to you. That's freedom of speech, bro. You're not pointing out any hypocrisy, you moron. So, by now I think we can all agree that Danny's an unfunny idiot with terrible jokes, but his content goes much past just bad jokes and into actually harassing people in public and...
Yeah, the video goes on, but I felt that clip was good to show off. Like, truly just how pathetic and just kind of, like, hateful people who get upset by this sort of pro-body acceptance messaging are. They will virtue signal some sort of, like, caring perspective that they're doing this because they care about people. The fact is they find fat people disgusting. They see them as a easy target, worthy of ridicule and harassment, and so they do it. And they do it with the veneer of moral superiority. It's really sad to see that such a, like, chill and wholesome content creator is getting put under the wave of massive harassment. And I'm not seeing a general, like, movement from, like, YouTubers to defend her. Like, people are just kind of, like, not caring about this, despite this being a multi-million sub animation channel. I guess, like, a lot of people are just willing to look the other way when this happens. I think this is sort of a symptom of Gamergate 2. If you remember back during Gamergate 1, when we saw the initial first big wave of conservative sort of domination of the culture war online, even apolitical content creators who were LGBT, women, or, generally left-leaning would be hit with massive harassment waves out of the blue because they just dared to exist online as a progressive or as a minority. And the general space started to get so aggressive towards anyone that is woke that they started leaving the internet. Yeah, this reminds me of the Joe Cat situation. Yeah, it's happening all over again. Joe Cat literally got chased off of the internet because right-wingers harassed him for liking women. Like, literally massive harassment campaigns, doxing, death threats on family members. Joe Cat literally had to leave the internet. The guy who made this video... As you can imagine, Joe Cat has made pro-trans rights and pro-LGBT content in the past. You can imagine that's a part of what motivated this.
Sad that there's no
You can call this cringe, by the way, but it's wholesome. It's fine, you know? I like that one image that his girlfriend drew, where it's her dragging him into the bedroom to own the people online calling him a virgin.
girls in here. Well, I mean, yeah, but, you know, sure,
Oh,
I
he's on
like to
Blue
joke
Sky.
around and talk about how, oh, I'm strong women all the time, but that's not the only girls I like. I like big girls, pretty kitty girls, really witty girls, singing ditty girls. I like the lady.
Okay, it is pretty cringe, though. It is pretty cringe. Listen, cringe is not wrong, but I'm not free of the cringe reaction, okay? I'm not free of it. And so, yeah, Joe Cat got massively harassed. It was fucking insane. And there were massive amounts of death threats, doxing, and apparently now Illymation has gotten the same. Illymation got doxed because of all of this. So yeah, that's pretty fucked. Yeah, if you look at the all the like comments are all hate comments. Apparently, Illymations reported some of the hate videos being made about her. And those YouTubers and many others use this as a sort of justification to say, ah, yes, she's trying to silence criticism. So the replies are, is this the channel that's trying to get other channels deplatformed? We all know why we're here. So fun fact. Oh, this is a different... This comment doesn't seem to be part of the harassment campaign. Nobody deserves to be bullied by their bullied for their looks, especially children, but unhealthiness shouldn't be normalized. Talks about being fat only animates skinny people. Huh? Girl, being 15% heavier than your 11-year-old self is called literally growing up. Imagine trying to make someone deplatformed. Carrying extra fat leads to serious health consequences such as cardiovascular disease, mainly heart disease and stroke, type 2 diabetes, musculoskeletal disorders like osteoarthritis, and some cancers, endometrial, breast, and colon. These conditions cause premature death and substantial disability. Yeah, of course you deserve kindness no matter how your body looks, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't strive to become healthier. All of the comments from before a few days ago when all the, like, hate videos started are positive, by the way. It's all downhill from here. Make no mistake, there absolutely are inherent bad foods. Foods that are scientifically proven to cause health problems and speed up aging when eaten in excess. Overly sugary foods, speed up aging. Overly sugary foods, overly salty foods, foods with trans fats. We all know them. You need to be conscious of what foods you eat and how much of them you're eating if you want to preserve your health. It's careless to ignore that fact. I skimmed through the video and the opposite of these arguments that they are saying were made. Uranium can be swallowed. That doesn't mean it's edible. South Park profile picture. Thank you, Kenny with a gun 43. All the replies to these hate comments are just saying, like, you're gonna need to explain how this is related to the video because I'm not making sense of it. Literally, like, the Illymation fans are just, like, confused replying to the hate comments. Like, wait, what are you replying to? That's not a thing that was said in the video. Because Illymations is not, like, a political debate. Like, they're not... The fans of this channel are not used to, like, weirdos coming in and falsely accusing and strawmanning a video that she's made in mass. Like, they're not used to having to deal with that, like political content creators are, where they just have to scroll through a ton of that just to see the normal comments on a lefty video. So this is, like, a weird thing for them, where they're just seeing waves of weirdos commenting about things in a video that they just watched that didn't happen. So it's, like, clear they didn't see it. I wonder if this is going to have an effect, but I think it's clear here that this is a symptom of the fact that the internet is getting progressively more and more hostile to even apolitical content creators that dare to present themselves as progressive or left-wing. And it's going to continue this way. You're going to see like more Joe Cat situations and more Illymation situations as the culture war gets to be so leaned on the right's favor with this Gamergate 2 thing that the majority of just centrist YouTubers just look the other way when stuff like this happens. It's really sad to see, but it is what it is. I've seen the drama community has jumped really big onto this because deplatforming is a no-no, and the harassment against Illymations, she wanted it to get removed from YouTube because it was just blatant harassment and bullying, and that's in many drama YouTubers and commentary YouTubers' eyes enough to just immediately justify the hammer coming down on you. Anyway, I'm curious what you guys think of this one down below in the comments. I think I'll probably get the wave of hate myself on this one, no doubt. But I'm curious to see what you guys think down below. And of course, if you want to support my content, consider dropping a thumbs up. It really means a lot and helps me a whole bunch. Consider subscribing, ring the bell icon if you haven't already. And hey, maybe support me financially by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. You can also support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon. You can even buy merch as well. And if you want to join my community, you can join my fan Discord where we do watch parties and call-in streams and just other cool community events. It's a really fun time, so consider joining. All those links down below in the description. But thank you for watching.